Leather. Will it DTF? Leather. Will it DTF? Let's find out. I've got a couple different leather items here. I think I've seen some posts where they have done this on leather, but it's never clear if it's real leather, fake leather. So I got both to test. I've got real, genuine leather here. I've got some fake leather or faux leather, and then I've got some leather luggage tags and a leather patch for a hat. So we're gonna try to DTF on the leather patch and then put the leather patch onto the hat. So let's start with this first test though of real leather versus fake leather. I don't really have a good indication of what temp to use, so I am going with 270, and for about 20 seconds, I am probably gonna check it partway through just to make sure it's okay. And let's give this a go. Okay, I'm checking it 10 seconds in. Do 10 more seconds. All right, so I did 10 seconds twice. Definitely holds heat. I mean, there's moisture condensating on my metal table here. And I think that definitely feels like some moisture that was coming out of the leather itself. It still feels pretty similar to what it did before, so it didn't like make it hard or anything like that. I don't know if you can see here around like where the film goes, there's definitely a lot of kind of, it looks like moisture maybe coming out of the leather. So I didn't think about that. Maybe it would have been good to like pre-press to get some moisture out, but I'm gonna let it cool off just a little bit more before I try to peel the transfer. I do have some extra genuine leather here to test as well. Let's see how that starts to peel up. At first it looked like it was sticking pretty good, but then it kind of didn't. Okay. Well, the area where I saw what looked like that moisture, it looks a little faded, a little funky, but it's kind of rubbing off. So I'm gonna put some parchment paper on and do a second press and see how that turns out. I'm just gonna do a quick press this time just to see if it's doing what I want it to do. So I can definitely tell there's some moisture still coming out of it because the parchment paper kind of crinkled up a little bit, and it does that when it gets moisture with it. Oh, that looks way better when I second pressed it. That looks really good. I do notice around the edges of all the designs, there's some like, there's like almost like a sheen to it. And I've noticed that when I've pressed on like other hard surfaces, and I'm not sure if that's like just some adhesive powder or maybe some of the liquids that kind of come out of the adhesive powder when it melts. But so there is a little bit of a haloing around the graphics, but it still looks good. And from a distance, it's really hard to tell. When I hold it at arm's length, it looks really, really good actually. I love the way it looks. All right, let's try the faux leather and see how that holds up. We're gonna do the same time, temp, and pressure. I will check it at 10 seconds. But will you do the same thing you do every time you watch one of our videos? Hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any awesome DTF content. Okay, this one feels a little different, feels a little more floppy. That was just 10 seconds. Definitely not sticking so good with 10 seconds, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the last or another 10 seconds. And just like the real leather, it's holding the heat in a little bit more than I'm accustomed to with like fabric, but this is cooling off a little quicker than the genuine leather. This is a hot peel film that I'm using, but again, like most of our tests, I like to peel cold just to give it every chance for success. All right, and let's peel this thing and see how it does. Okay, looks good. That stuck real nice. And again, getting some weird sheen here. It looks like it's kind of compressed the texture. And I'll compare with this other one that hasn't been pressed on, but I will do parchment as a second press for this one. Yeah, the heat definitely makes it a lot more pliable, a lot more floppy. Let's cool this off. So what I'm seeing is the press looks pretty good. It looks very similar to the genuine leather. However, we have definitely messed up the texture of it. It's a lot flatter, so it doesn't have quite the same texture as the original. So I would probably lean toward either doing a non-textured faux leather or sticking with genuine leather. The genuine leather one looks amazing. Like I really love the way it looks. And the feel of it's fantastic. So yeah, so I definitely think flatter on the faux leather. Let's try this. I'm pretty sure this is not genuine leather. I'm pretty sure it's a faux leather, but it's a luggage tag. So we're gonna put a little travel thing on here. But first I want to pull out the insert. And I did notice there's a plastic kind of cover here that might melt when we press it. Let's give it a try. Same temp and time as before. I think that works pretty good. So I think 270 at about 20 seconds with a pretty good pressure should be fine for just about any leather product. It's stuck. It's not the first time stuff has stuck before, but plastic seems okay. Let this whole thing cool off before I make my final decision on if I think this is a good idea or not. Okay, we'll try to peel it here. Peeled nicely, that looks good. Let's second press it. And I will say on all the stuff I've tested so far, a second press definitely cleans up the look of it a ton. Because I had those issues of like maybe the plastic melting, I'm just gonna do a 5-second second press. Yep, just like before, it cleaned up the look of it, but let's let it cool off and we'll make sure the plastic's okay. Okay, so the plastic looks like it had an adhesive on it that was kind of melting off. Okay, there we go. So the plastic did discolor. You know what, I'm gonna take apart this one and see if I can actually take that plastic out of it. I mean, there is adhesive with the plastic, but if you look closely, see if we can get the camera in, the plastic kind of has like got some dimples and some like spots on it. So it doesn't look super clean. The leather side of it looks really good. Like I love the way that turned out. The plastic kind of mars it up a little bit. So I don't know that I would offer this unless you can get a luggage tag that has like removable plastic, or maybe do a laminated card inside that is already got the protective plastic on it. Something along those lines, but leather worked really good, just there's plastic involved, so that didn't work out as nice as I'd hoped. All right, finally, we're gonna do this leather patch. Now this is a leather patch that has adhesive on the back for attaching to a baseball cap. I think the easiest way to do this is gonna be to press the graphic on first and then press the full patch onto the hat. So let's do that. Got this little round graphic I made. I'm gonna use this for pressing the patch first. Now I am a little bit concerned that the adhesive that puts the patch on the hat might get activated through this process and might not work as effectively, but let's give it a try. I mean, ultimately you could press the graphic onto the patch while you're pressing the patch onto the hat, but I think this will be a little bit easier. Okay, nothing feels weird on the back side. There is like a protective coating like you would get with a sticker that's still on the back, and that looks okay. So we'll cool it off and peel the film off. Oh yeah, that looks good. Let's see if we can press it on the hat. So take our adhesive back layer off. There we go. You can see the adhesive there. Makes it a little shiny, and it should stick kind of on its own without the heat at first, and then the heat just kind of will solidify it. So I'm gonna measure this up, kind of pre-press it a little bit to get it in the right spot. I think that's gonna look good. Put it on our hat heat press. Make sure the sweat band is out of the way. There we go. And I've got this set at about 290, so it's a little bit higher temperature. Those patches, they need a little bit more time for that heat to get through the patch to actually fully activate that adhesive. So I did set the time at 20 seconds. I am gonna let it beep at me for a moment. And let's see how that worked. Oh, that looks great. So I do see a little bit of a halo from where my heat press was. I'm still working out the whole hat heat press thing. DTFing on a hat has always been a little bit troublesome, so we're still working on getting that thing dialed in. But this looks great. So, leather, will it DTF? Absolutely it does. There's a lot of really cool applications for this. I think the biggest thing is you want to test on the stuff you're going to work with. So like those luggage tags, the leather pressed fine, but it messed up the plastic. And on the genuine leather, it looks really good. The faux leather, make sure you use something that's smooth and doesn't have a lot of texture, because that's what kind of got smashed when we did it. And these leather patches, that looks killer. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something today, and we'll see you next time.